What's up guys, AD here back with another Destiny Child video here on the channel, and in today's video everyone we are going to be overviewing the Destiny Child Global General Investment tier list here that was recently updated just today on August 23rd, 2022. So this tier list does come from the CN community, so a big thank you to Saturn for creating this tier list, as well as a huge thank you to ZSWBM for translating it as well. So we'll be diving into it today, and I'll be sure to have chapters on this video as well to sort all of the specific elements on this tier list. But before we get started, everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so already, as well as make sure to check out channel memberships down below if you are interested in supporting the channel further and would like to receive some perks here on the channel, as well as some cute emotes for the comments. But with all of that being said, let's get started here with the notes of the tier list. We have, first of all, this tier list is used for the global server only, so do not follow this tier list at all for the Japan server as well as the Korean server, only the global server. Next here we have the tiers explanation. S tier, extremely versatile or game changing, regarded as human rights units in the CN community, top priority overall. Next here we have A tier, either versatile or very powerful on certain modes. They are the backbone of the most competent players collection, high priority. B tier, limited usage or mediocre, can be used as a substitute. Others can be used in a niche setup, low priority. Plus sign denotes an improvement to the previous tier in either versatility or power. 3 here, you should gradually invest units from S to B plus tier. You don't need to invest in B units, but you should keep them in case they become a booster for burst, narrative dungeon, etc. The C tier contains units that are unlikely to become a booster. As such, it is a fodder tier. Fourth of all here, to end the notes off, the ignition levels are only personal recommendations. Ignite them at your own discretion. So there are the notes. Make sure to check them out here before we do continue on. Feel free to pause if you would like to, but let's get started here with the light type units. All right, everyone. So here we are with the light type unit tier list. As for S tier, we do have a debuffer. Of course, Nautilus is up here at full ignition, the priority here. For PvP, she is amazing, very flexible to Devil Rumble and Endless Duel. You'll find her on pretty much every single team, so definitely a must-have for the PvP side of Destiny Child Global. Next here for the S tier, we have Neptune here on the supporter column. Very versatile units. She is an amazing light type supporter for Ragna Break, and she does have universal double-edged sword, so she can use it in any area of Destiny Child. Next here, in between S and A plus tier, we do have light type Wodan. This unit at manual is a S plus tier, but at full auto they do have her at A rank, as of course you can't really control her tap skills since you'll have her on full auto. Nonetheless, a very amazing light type supporter. Next here for A plus tier, we do have Titania. The recommendation is to fully ignite her, and she is a PvE 6-hit slider. Very amazing for the dark type Ragna breaks, and can flex to the world boss as well if needed. We also do have alongside her the light type attacker Lassie, and it's recommended to ignite her as well, as she is a universal 6-hit slider, so she's amazing for PvP, PvE, and all events. Towards the far right here, we do have the A plus healer here in Mott. So Mott, she has been a staple for so long. Definitely make sure to keep Mott around, as she is very amazing for the world boss trial, and she will keep your team alive and healthy. As for the A tier here, we do have 2 debuffers, being Oracle Werewolf. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars, as she is very amazing and does receive a significant boost at this level for the world boss trial. Next here we have Bradamante. She is a PvP debuffer, so you'll find her very useful in the Devil Rumble as well as Endless Duel, and the recommendation here is to have her at fully ignited status. As for supporters here, we do have Citri. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars, as she does receive a significant buff for the world boss trial there. And alongside Citri at A tier, we do have Catgirl Nimhane, as she will be receiving a skill revision with the next Ragna break, so you could expect her to be very strong alongside raid percentage based attackers such as Light's Fray and some others. Salos. At the bottom here of A tier for the supporters, we do have Salos. This is a new raid focused light type supporter, so you will find her useful for the upcoming Ragna break, and the suggestion is to level her to ignite her to 2 stars. As for the defender column, we do have A tier in Boreas. It's recommended to ignite her to full ignition, and she is a top tier endless duel tank. Now moving on to B plus tier, we do have Laura. It's recommended to ignite her to 2 stars. She is a world boss percentage based attacker. Alongside Laura, we have Arya, a world boss percentage based attacker yet again. Under Laura, we do have Gunslinger Hilder, a PvP 6-hit slider, and alongside Gunslinger Hilder, we do have Bridal Hilder, which is more of a raid focus. Towards the bottom of these units, we do have Saturn going down in tier to B+. She is a PvP DOT attacker. Towards the right of the attackers, we do have Juno and Loki in the debuffer tier. Loki is useful for his leader buff. Moving on to the supporters, we have light type supporter Saturn. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars. She is very amazing for the Ragna break as well as World Boss Trials. Alongside Saturn, we do have Light Beam Mona, and under Saturn, we have supporter Samil. It's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars as she's great for the Ragna break. And alongside Samil, we have Luna to end off the B+ supporters. Towards the right of them, we have Athena as a B+ defender tank. And to end off this category, we do have Alf as well as Pomona to round out the healers at B+. And for Pomona here, we do have Burst Healer, Anemone Jr., and her rank seems to have gone down a bit. Now for B and C tier, some notes here of Cleopatra should be receiving a reskill soon. Basset here, see if you have a better attacker. For the debuffers here, for Seth, we do have see if you have Lewin, as well as for Neardy, see if you have Wyatt. And for Dana here on the defender column, we do have see if you have Clotho. As for Ignition or HOR fodders, you can pretty much safely toss these units, but I always advise players to keep at least 1 copy. Next here, everyone, moving on to the dark units, we do have the S tier in Lupin. So it's recommended to fully ignite Lupin as she is a very flexible supporter, but it's suggested to ignite attackers first before you do ignite Lupin. As for A+ tier, we do have Ophois at the recommendation to fully ignite. She is a universal 6-hit slider, as well as Artemis at A+ tier. She is recommended to fully ignite as she is very amazing for endless duel and Ragna breaks. As for A tier, we do have Nodos at a recommendation for full ignition. She seems to have gone down a tier, as well as the newly reskilled Lan Fei, as she will be receiving a new skill set with her upcoming Ragna break, and the recommendation here is to ignite her to 3 stars, and she seems to be pretty strong for endless duel. Towards the right of the debuffers at A tier, we do have Tiwaz. It's recommended to ignite Tiwaz to 3 stars, and alongside Tiwaz we have Neza, which it's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars. For the defender column here at A rank, we do have Clotho, and it's recommended to ignite Clotho to 2 stars. As for B+ tier, we do have the attackers, starting with Kefri. She is a PvP 6-hit slider. Alongside Kefri, we have Kubaba, which is a PvE 6-hit slider. It's recommended to ignite her to 6 stars. And under these 2 attackers, we have Dark type attacker Eve. She is a PvE 6-hit slider, and it's recommended to fully ignite her. As for the debuffers here at B+, we have Rita, Rhea, Alter Davi, as well as Lisa. For the supporters here, we have Samil at B+, and towards the far right, we have Driadis, which is a PvP dark team only healer. As for B tier, we have Elizabeth, see if you have a better attacker. Frey is a percentage based attacker. Ma tier, see if you have a better attacker. As for the debuffers for Ifis, we have see if you have Wyatt. For the supporters here, we have a note under Pantheon, see if you have Lupin. Lima here should be receiving a reskill, as well as for the defender column here in 2-sided Moa, see if you have a better defender. As for the C tier, pretty safe units here to fodder away, but like I mentioned before, make sure to keep 1 copy if you would like to. Next here, everyone, moving on to the water type units, we do have the S tier here in Tokika. She is recommended to fully ignite as she does require high investment for Ragna breaks. As for the supporter category, we have Thisbe here recommended to ignite to 3 stars, and we do have the introduction of Anemone at S tier now after her recent reskill. She is a universal supporter, new player friendly, and it's recommended to fully ignite her. She's used in all areas of the game now, and if you guys have seen the PvP, she seems to have been introduced into the top ranks. As for A+ tier, we do have Eve. She is a universal 6-hit slider, recommended to fully ignite. Alongside Eve, we have a Flower of Justice Maftet, another PvE 6-hit slider, which is recommended to fully ignite. And moving on to the A tier category here, we do have Virupa. She is an amazing water type raid attacker. Very cheap investment as you only need to ignite her to 2 stars. As you can see, economical raid tapper. So she's very investment friendly. Moving on to the debuffers here, we do have Isolate here at A tier. It's recommended to fully ignite her. As for Mercury here, it's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars. She is a Midas substitute for the World Boss Trial if you do happen to ignite her. And under these two, we do have Nicole, which is recommended to fully ignite her, and she seems to have gone up in the tier list a bit. Next here for the supporter category, we do have Arat, and it's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars. Alongside Arat, we have Swimsuit Davi. It's recommended to ignite Davi to 3 stars. And under these two, we do have Leo. Towards the right hand side, we have Ymir. It's recommended to fully ignite him as he is a top tier endless duel tank. Moving on to B plus tier, we do have Cassia. She is a world boss percentage based attacker. As for the debuffers here, we have Babel. Lanfei is substitutable. And for Methuselah here, he seems to have gone down in rank as he does have the caption of Isolate Jr. So Isolate does seem to be way better than Methuselah. Moving on to the supporters, we have Neardy as well as Guillotine here on the same row of B plus. And under these two, we have Theophano, the world boss supporter. Towards the right hand side, we have Paquette. She is a PvP water team only, and she'll be receiving a reskill soon with the upcoming Ragna break. And towards the far right here for the healers, we have Rin, which is a collab exclusive unit from the Catherine collaboration. It's recommended to fully ignite Rin. Towards the right of Rin, we have Euros. She is very useful for the fire burst. And under Euros and Rin, we do have Messier, as she's useful for endless duel and fire burst. As for B tier, we have the notes under Thanatos. See if you have a better attacker. Kasumi here, collab limited unit, as well as Noel, a collab limited unit as well. As for the debuffer notes here, we have see if you have troubleshooter Mona for Fetus for the world boss trial. For the supporters here, we have collab limited under the 2 Mikus. As for the tanks here, we have see if you have Nephthys for Mars, as Nephthys is better than Mars for the world boss trial. Under Raccoon here, we have a collab limited unit. As for Bess here, we have a reskill. She should be receiving one soon. And for the healers here, we have collab limited for Miku as well as Makoto. As for the last tier in C tier, it's pretty much safe to fodder these units, but as always, see if you can keep at least one copy around. Moving on to the fire tier here, everyone, at S rank. At S tier, we do have Courtesan Bathory in between S and A plus, as she is a very flexible fire type attacker, and it's recommended to fully ignite her. At the S tier here for debuffer, we do have Ziva. It's recommended to fully ignite to this unit. She is an endless duel god according to the notes, and she is very useful for the future game mode in Spacewalk. At A plus tier, we do have Rusalka. It's recommended to fully ignite her. She's useful for the PvP fire team and also does very well in Ragna breaks as well as world boss trials. As for A tier, we do have Myra. It's recommended to fully ignite her. She is useful for the PvP fire team. As for the debuffers here of A tier, we do have Kalaratri. She is a world boss leader, useful for endless duel and fire team. Next here, we do have Raga Raja. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars. She's useful for the PvP fire team. Under these two, we do have Limos. And moving on to the supporters, we have Teresa. It's recommended to ignite her to 2 stars. Next here, we have Failnaught, Dione Side substitute. And under these two, we do have the new fire type supporter in Samuel. She will be introduced with the upcoming world boss, and we do have her ranked here at A tier. As for the defender category, we have Maupin. It's recommended to fully ignite her. She's only useful for the PvP fire team. And for the right hand side of the healers, we do have Luffy, recommended to fully ignite, as she's useful for PvP fire team as well as a burst healer. As for B plus tier, everyone, we do have Leda. It's recommended to fully ignite her. She is a PvE 6-hit slider. And towards the right side of Leda, we do have Metis. She is a world boss percentage based attacker. Moving on to debuffers, we have the world boss leader in Wyatt, and she is great for the PvP fire team. And towards the far right here, we do have Dana, the fire type of burst healer. As for B tier, we do have notes under the 2 collab limited units here for the supporter category in Lanfei and 9. As for the supporters here, we have collab limited under Fennec. And for Med B here, see if you have Teresa. As for the defenders here, we have a reskill soon coming to Kano and collab limited under Catherine. As for Argos, see if you have a better defender. And for Dione Side, see if you have Fail Walnuts. As for the healers, we have Collab Limited noted under Honoka. As for C tier, very low priority. You can safely ignition fodder these units, but I would advise to keep Ganesha around for the next World Boss trial at the very least, as well as consider keeping at least one copy of these C tier units just in case. Last but not least, everyone, we do have the wood tier. Starting off with the S tier rank units, we do have Pepita at full ignition recommendation. She is a universal 6-hit percentage based slider. Moving on to the debuffers, we do have Fluttering Citri. It's recommended to fully ignite her. She has a note of PvP God. Alongside Citri here, we do have Lady Bathory. It's recommended to fully ignite her. And for World Boss, you must ignite her. It's recommended. As for the supporters, we do have Newbie Mona. Ignites if you have 3 invested attackers of the same element. As for A+ tier, we do have Citri. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars. Next here, for the healer category, we do have Freya. She will be introduced very soon and should be considered an A+ rank unit as she is a universal wood type healer. Moving on to A tier, we do have Annie. It's recommended to fully ignite her and she is useful for Ragnarok rankers only. Make sure to ignite Pepita first. Next here, for debuffers, we do have self-depreciated Navi. It's recommended to ignite her to 3 stars for the World Boss trial. And moving on to the supporters, we do have Grilla. It's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars. She is very useful alongside percentage based attackers such as Pepita. Alongside Grilla here, we have Rosanna at A tier, and under these two we do have Yuna. It's recommended to ignite her to 4 stars, and Elysian. It's recommended to ignite Elysian to full ignition. As for B+ tier, we do have Ayane. She is a collab limited PvE 6-hit slider. It's recommended to fully ignite her. Alongside Ayane, we have Hell, which is a World Boss percentage based attacker. Under these two here, we do have Miriam as well as Daphnis. Daphnis is a PvE 6-hit slider. As for B+ tier, we do have Pan, Lewin, Katsi, as well as the new World Boss debuffer in Zini. Moving on to supporters here, we do have Venus alongside Aura. And under these two, we do have Lisa as well as Robin. Moving on to the defenders, we do have Nephthys. She is a World Boss survival tank for the beginner players. And towards the right hand side of Nephthys, we do have Raffles, which is a top tier endless duel tank. As for the healers here, we have Haket. She is very useful for water burst. And next here we do have Astrea, which is recommended to ignite to 2 stars, and she is only useful for World Boss rankers. As for the B tier notes, we have Collab Limited here under the Wood Attacker in Serval. We have a note under Abaddon, see if you have a better attacker, as well as for Siren to see if you have a better attacker. As for the debuffers here, see if you have Mercury ignited under Midas. And for Catherine here, we have Collab Limited. Moving on to the defenders, we have Collab Limited noted under Maria Rose. As for the C tier, it's pretty much safe to fodder these units, but as always, make sure to keep at least 1 copy. But anyways, everyone, that'll pretty much do it for the Destiny Child Global Child General Investment tier list. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below if this tier list was helpful to you at all in sorting out your child archive, and hopefully you do invest accordingly based on this tier list. Of course, this is a personal recommendation made by Saturn, but pretty much all of the rankings here I do agree with, so make sure to let me know your thoughts down below. But before you go, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as make sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course check out channel memberships down below as well if you're interested in supporting the channel further. But with all of that being said, I'll see you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.